Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
It's 5 o'clock. Everybody's here. Let's call this meeting to order. Rockingham School Board special meeting, August 10th, 2020. I'd be happy to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Any adjustments to the agenda? I've got a couple things. First, I'd like to ask the board to let me speak for a moment before we really get too far into this. If everybody's okay with that, get a nod, head nod, yes, no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go for it, George.
And also, I wanted to talk about communication and public comments. I'm wondering what you folks think about it. I feel like we have a good idea of how people feel and what they want. I'm happy to leave it on there. I guess what I'd ask is that anybody who wants to comment, maybe bring something new, different perspective. I'm not going to completely limit it, but at the same time, there is a high school board meeting after this one, so I'd like to be sensitive to that as well. All right, so I've got some words. Thank you for letting me speak here. The purpose of this meeting is to ensure that parents, teachers, and staff have a clearer understanding about the course of action regarding the reopening of schools in our district. It's not an easy conversation for any of us, but it's one that needs to be had. I'd like to start by saying thank you to those who have reached out with thoughts and concerns about our current situation. Your input is valued and appreciated. I'd also like to thank Mrs. Green at the Central Elementary School for inviting the board to have a firsthand look at what a socially distanced classroom looks like. Though I couldn't make it today, I believe a couple board members were able to go and have a look, and I'm appreciative of the added perspective, so thank you. A directive was voted on and approved last week, and let me just say that whether I agree or disagree with that, I fully agree and support the intent behind it. Our goal, I believe, is to be working towards getting kids to school full-time some way, somehow, while still following state and CDC guidelines. Because that's where they receive the best academic instruction, as has been continually relayed by educators unchallenged. Whether it's now, later, whenever, I believe that has to be where we set our sights, and it has to be our end game. And I'm of the belief that it needs to happen as soon as logistically possible, while again, adhering to state and CDC guidelines. That's something we'll talk about later, but right now, with this different board structure and still another seat to fill, I think we have a real opportunity here. We have an opportunity to rebuild and strengthen the relationship between this Rockingham School Board and the superintendent and his team. A relationship that, in my opinion, has lacked a certain level of help for some time now. I feel that both sides have progressively contributed to this in some form or fashion over the last year. So before we get into any business, I'm asking us meaning the board and the education team, to make a change. I'm asking us to consider the fact that working together is better than working independently. I'm asking us to stop think about someone else's perspective, regardless of how it's dressed up, and consider trying to establish a common working ground to work towards shared goals. I'm asking us to work together to establish shared goals in an effort to satisfy the needs and expectations of students, staff, parents. Every one of us has strengths and positive qualities, and together we can identify them and use them to our advantage, especially when we stay within our bounds of expertise. We've got to bridge that gap. We've got to get rid of the us and them mentality, though I know at times it will have to be that way. Fellow board members, Mr. Pratt, principals, and staff, I'm asking that we hit the reset button right now and start truly being partners in education as we muscle through these undesirable circumstances. Because us working collaboratively is these kids' best option. And I intend to do my very best as chair to encourage and enable that type of culture when possible and appropriate going forward with this board. Now, I'm not 100% sure how this meeting is going to end. I think I know. I hope I know. I know how I'd like to see it end. I've got thoughts, as I guarantee others do as well. Thoughts that I'm hoping we can talk through if needed and find some level of agreement and understanding with. I know that it's nearly impossible to make everybody happy with the choices we have. People are going to be in disagreement within their own homes even. So there's no way we can expect to make everybody happy across the community and through the administration and staff, but we need to do our best. Do I like the choices right now? No, not particularly. Could there maybe have been better or different plans that were more attractive? Maybe to some, I don't know. It's pretty easy to say if we're looking backwards, but this is where we are right now. One thing I do know is at the end of this meeting, one way or the other, the choices that parents will have to make should be made clear. So with that said, let's get to work. Thank you. Communications and public comment. Chris, do you have anybody showing?
No, not at this point.
Okay. Well, let's get into item number 5, unfinished business for discussion and or action, reopening schools.
George?
Go ahead, Jason.
George, I would, I'd like to make a motion. I move to
And we have
rescind.
discussion first because it says discussion.
I think that'd be appropriate. That's okay. Did you have something to say, Priscilla?
Yeah, because my hand was up first, so could I
I'm
do
sorry.
that?
I didn't see you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Priscilla.
Okay. First, I want to say that my heart goes out to all parents, those wanting remote, those wanting hybrid, and those wanting full-time. I've heard from people on all sides, and as I think all of our board members have, and I think all of our board members feel that same way, that every one of our hearts goes out to them. It's a daunting experience for parents to wade through the information and make a decision. The SU plan that we looked at last Monday has been amended, and it is improving. It now includes a virtual component. Those not wanting in-person can choose virtual VTLC for a half year or longer. Homeschooling can still be used, and I think that allows them to change almost at any time if they need to go to the schools rather than at home. However, VTLC requires a decision and no change until January. The decision has to be made by tomorrow, which puts parents in a really, really stiff place. No matter what we decide tonight, it puts them in a hard place to make that decision. The hybrid that was in the plan is offered with 2 days of in-person instruction. This gives adjustment time for teachers and students. Do keep in mind that the prediction that is being made now at the state level is that we're going to move to step 3 for all schools, but that's after week 2. That lessens the requirements for spacing that's 6 feet to the extent possible, which makes it maybe a little bit easier for our schools to move forward at some point. The gyms and the cafeterias can be used, although there's cleaning restrictions for those. And there's probably some other ones. I looked and looked this weekend and could not find all the differences between step 2 and step 3 because I really wanted to know that. COVID levels are greater elsewhere in our state, Burlington, Brattleboro, and Wilmington. Our plan does follow the same thing as theirs, the one that was presented to us. Right or wrong, that's, where it came across and where we're at. The state did recommend that maybe we look at what's in our district and, move forward with that, which is part of what I think our board was trying to look at when we were doing that, although it came across too firm and too strident in the way that it was presented. And maybe that's partly my fault, and if so, I apologize. I would, and talking with some teachers today and other people, I think maybe we need to continue looking at moving a little faster than what our current plan does. But if we can't do that, I think we need to be able to adjust. That is, because the 100% person component isn't included at this point. Maybe we can get that in there soon so that we can know how we can move from the hybrid to the in-person. The steps for meeting the needs of that 1/3 of parents that want the full in-person would then be addressed in the plan, which at the moment we're kind of ignoring. And so I would encourage us to look at maybe adding that to the plan in some way so that they will know that their needs are going to be met and where we're going with it. We want to support their needs because some of those parents need schools to educate their children. For whatever reason, they're not able to do so at home, although some parents are. There are a variety of reasons that they can't do so. And we need to be sure that as a board, we're providing education. Our vote was meant to provide time to obtain numbers and see what could be done in person if the numbers supported it. As in many places, parents are selecting other options and not having children attend school. So we didn't know what numbers would be there. It is possible that we could end up with everybody there and, absolutely not able to provide that kind of a situation for our children without some really forward thinking. And maybe not at all. I don't know. That's what we wanted to know, and that's what our vote was meant to accomplish. It was not meant to step on the toes of anybody who worked really hard on that task force. I'm told the middle school and the high school did discuss the hybrid in their groupings. And if they did, maybe that's what they felt they needed in their programs. Also moving to step 3, restrictions, however, removes some stringent requirements and may allow this to be more easily accomplished. I recognize our teachers and children may still need more time to accomplish this, with the caveat that children need to be in school, as George just said. As students, educators, and parents, I know all want that to be happening. We would like this COVID thing to not be creating so much trouble for all of us. With that said, I hope the dialogue continues so our district will provide the best education that is possible for the children. And I think that's what every one of our board members feels and wants. Thanks, George, for listening.
Thank you, Priscilla. I just realized, Chris, is there an echo or is it just me?
I'm going to mute everyone's microphones again. So George, if you just unmute yours once I have done that.
Okay. Are we good? That sounds better.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I meant to ask you, and I forgot because I'm a rookie here, but forgot to ask you for a quick update on the other schools in the area. Maybe you could give just a quick highlight there, if you don't mind.
Sure. The other schools in the district had sent the detailed school reopening plans home. I believe it was on either Thursday or Friday. So Other districts, families do have the plans. So that's where we are right now. And based on tonight, if the hybrid is approved, the administration is ready to send the detailed school plans out to families as soon as possible.
Jason, Terry, I heard that I'm gonna see if Jason Benson has anything first, if that's okay. Jason, do you have anything? Anything?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Jason, Terry.
Aye. So I'd like to make a motion. I move to rescind the previous vote on August 3rd, 2020 by the Rockingham School Board, which instructed Superintendent Pratt to provide full in-person instruction to the students beginning the second week of school in order to adopt as a temporary measure the previously proposed hybrid plan as a short-term solution while in conjunction, the board, Superintendent Pratt, and the administration will work together towards the common goal of getting all students full-time in-person instruction at the earliest possible time.
Do I need a second? Is that right? To open discussion, right? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
George,
Yeah.
yeah, that should be amended to say reconsider rather than rescind.
Reconsider. Well, are we reconsidering it or are we rescinding it?
It should be reconsidered because we're wanting to vote on it.
But do we want to make it?
Well, I mean, if you reconsider it, then you are doing that. You're allowing it to go to the other because he said that.
All right. Well, I'm not an English professor, so I'm happy with that as long as that's the intention. But also, it's not just up to me. I mean, any discussion. You guys have anything to add?
Well, you could ask Jason to just friendly amendment rather than having to vote on it.
I'm sorry.
Because otherwise-
Say that again. I'm sorry.
If you ask Jason to just, if he would amend that to be that, rather then we wouldn't have to vote twice on it. We just have to vote the once.
Well, it was seconded, so I think there'd be so Jason Benson. Any other discussion before we get?
No, I like his motion and with
Yeah.
the reconsider option.
Okay. So I want to work together. That's what I had said, in my opening statement. I want to work together. I don't want this gap between us. I want teachers to do what they do, and I want to allow them to do that. And so long as this motion allows that, and as well as the caveat to us working together to that shared goal of opening schools, because if that's not our shared goal, then I don't know what we're doing here. So
George,
go ahead.
reconsider means that we do what Jason put in there,
So
that we then work together to do this and make it what he said. If you rescind, you do away with everything and you never have anything that, like he said. So that's why we need to reconsider.
I think we're kind of splitting hairs here at this point, aren't we?
Well, we are, but it needs to be that way or else you've messed up the whole motion. That's okay. Do what you want.
Well, I want to do what's right. But at the same time, I feel like these people need to get to work. And
George, can I just say one thing?
yes, sir.
Based on your opening statement and what Priscilla was stating, I think, we all want to get going and not waste any more time, and let's get everyone moving forward in the right direction, and let's just improve it. And, at the earliest time possible, if something comes up earlier, great, to open schools. But I think we're all on the same page.
Have them restate the motion.
Thank you.
before we vote on it.
Any other discussion?
Restate the entire motion.
Can we restate the motion, please?
Yes, please, Jason.
I move to rescind the previous vote on August 3rd, 2020 by the Rockingham School Board, which instructed Superintendent Pratt to provide full in-person instruction to the students beginning the second week of school in order to adopt as a temporary measure. The previously proposed hybrid plan as a short-term solution, while in conjunction, the board, Superintendent Pratt, and administration will work together towards the common goal of getting all students full-time in-person instruction at the earliest possible time.
Are we ready for a vote? Priscilla, go ahead.
One more time, read it again, please. I'm trying to take it all in.
Unmute. There we go. I move to rescind the previous vote on August 3rd, 2020 by the Rockingham School Board, which instructed Superintendent Pratt to provide full in-person instruction to the students beginning the second week of school in order to adopt as a temporary measure the previously proposed hybrid plan as a short-term solution, while in conjunction, the board, Superintendent Pratt, and the administration will work together towards the common goal of getting all students full-time in-person instruction at the earliest possible time.
Priscilla, you okay with that?
So the motion takes away the previous, but it doesn't approve the plan as it is, because it lets us move forward and continue talking about it, but it allows them to go ahead and send out the stuff so we can get started with the school year. Is that what's trying to happen here?
Sounded like
Not clear.
It sounded like to me that we're to rescind the previous vote of last week and accept the previously proposed hybrid plan, and also in conjunction be looking toward working with administration to look toward a way to fully open schools. That's my understanding of it.
At the earliest possible time.
Yes.
That is correct.
Jason Benson, go ahead.
Yes, I understood exactly what Jason Terry was
It's not doing
saying
that.
with the motion. It's a big motion, but it covers everything that we're trying to accomplish at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so what it's saying is we're going to adopt that plan with the provision that we are going to move ahead trying to get the in-person instruction as soon as possible,
Correct.
is the intent.
Correct.
Okay, okay, good.
Are we ready for a vote?
Please.
All right, all in favor, roll call. Priscilla, you go first.
Aye.
Jason Benson,
Yes.
Jason Terry.
Aye.
For the record, I say yes as well, and there we go. We can move forward. Let's get this thing going. Director's comments. I'm sorry. Before we move on, is there any other thing that needs to be said? I don't want to move on prematurely, even though I know we're under a crunch here.
George, you mind if I speak briefly?
Sure, please do.
I think we're all on the same page in regards to this hybrid plan. We'll be revisiting this plan on a weekly basis. And so we can continually to go back and look to see where we currently are, because that's our ultimate goal, is to get all the kids back in school anyways. It could happen before the 6 weeks. It might take longer, but we, as an administration, will be visiting it on a weekly basis. And in some cases, based on the information we're getting, might be many times during the week. So I just wanted to clarify that for everybody.
Thank you, sir. I think we can move on. Director's comments. Priscilla, go ahead.
I'm going first, okay. I wanted to thank Kelly for opening her classroom for us to visit today. That was really considerate of her. I knew what I was going to see, I'm sure, ahead of time, and my heart goes out to those teachers trying to set up with their all these restrictions. It's tough. And my heart goes out to the parents that want to do the best that they can for their children. I guess I would encourage anyone that is interested in filling that seat that's vacant, they would send us a letter of intention and give us their background and that kind of thing, so that we can look at that at some point. Thanks.
Jason Terry, you're on.
George, I'd just like to say great job preparing for this meeting. I know you worked a lot this weekend, and you were very well prepared today. I really appreciate that. I too went to Miss Green's class, and it's the second time I've been to the school since I've been on a board. And I really think it's important as a board member to not only walk in the teachers and the administration shoes, but I'd also like to offer that anytime those folks want to walk in my shoes and do what I do for a day in the private sector, please. I'm just a phone call away. I'm willing to do that. And let's get to work. Let's go.
Mr. Benson.
Yeah, thank you, George. You've been exemplary, stepping up and filling the shoes of one of our previous associates. And I do hope that somebody else steps up and is willing to fill the missing position at this point. As a board, I believe we can all work together, and I think we can work with Mr. Pratt well and the rest of the principals and move forwards from here in a positive direction. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And my closing comments, I'm going to stumble a lot. I'm going to get it out of order. I'm going to mess it up. Promise that's going to happen. Just bear with me. I'm going to do my best. And also following up on Priscilla's comment about filling the seat. And we can talk about this more later, but I don't want somebody to be anxious for a seat for reactionary purposes. I'd like somebody who has been considering this for a time, and someone who wants to be here and not just do COVID work, but others as well. So that being said, thank you all. I'm glad we made this short and sweet, and onward and upward. So agenda items for next board meeting. No new agenda items. Excellent. Date of next meeting is August 17th, 2020. I'm pretty sure we're going to be in person. I think now that we've moved past this portion, we'll look at that individually and see how we can make that work, because it is important to me. So at this point, I think we can call this meeting adjourned. All in favor? Priscilla? Jason Benson?
Aye.
Jason Terry?
Aye.
Farewell.